toward my degree, and the program I've applied to. I paused, and Anna nodded. I squared my shoulders. The program is in Cuba. The College of Charleston accepted my transfer application last week. Right after I got that email, I celebrated by silently screaming in my bedroom before applying to their study abroad program. A whole semester at the University of Havana. I would sit in on lectures taught by Cuban professors. There would be excursions and cultural visits. Old Havana, Viñales, Santiago. My Spanish would get better. I would have my own stories from the island that, for so long, had been an heirloom I couldn't touch. Of course, the program was expensive, but there wasn't time to hesitate. I was running against a clock ruled by politicians. I had financial aid, scholarships, and a shoebox of savings from working at the bodega. An education visa was one of the only ways to legally travel there now, and I didn't have family waiting for me in Cuba, so school was the answer. At my declaration, Anna gasped and pushed herself off the desk, knocking me aside. She clutched her chest and crashed backward onto the bed, my throw pillows falling over the side. The performance was worthy of a telenovela. I sighed and dropped my hands to my hips. And I suppose this is where my long-lost sister bursts into the room and tells me she's stealing my inheritance. Or, better yet, your long-lost mother. It was just a joke, but it hit a nerve, like always. If Mom still lived here full-time, maybe I wouldn't be so freaked out about telling Mimi I wanted to live and learn in the country she'd fled. I'd have a buffer for once, since Mom usually made Mimi mad enough to forget everything else. Anna stood and grabbed me by the shoulders. Ana Maria was Afro-Latina, and her parents were also from Cuba. Mrs. Peña left the island as a young child, when family in the States had the money and ability to claim her. But Mr. Peña escaped as a teen. Now they were here together. My best friend was surrounded by cousins and siblings and didn't yearn to understand our island like I did. At least, not outwardly. You're as ready as your anxiety and many family issues will allow you to be, Anna offered with a loving squeeze as she pushed me out the door. Go get 'em, Tiger. It was Friday evening at the Santos house, so I knew exactly where my abuela would be. Sitting at our tiny laundry room window on the east side of our house, between two lemon trees, where neighbors came in search of answers, guidance, and a little bit of magic. The neighborhood curandera oversaw concerns about struggling gardens, bad dreams, career changes, and terrible luck, and she brewed hope from her window that smelled like herbs and dryer sheets. I found her there now, corking a bottle. On the other side of the window stood our neighbor Dan, carrying a baby in his arms. Dan and his husband, Malcolm, my college advisor and dual enrollment guiding wizard, had recently finalized the adoption of their daughter, Penny. Mimi shook the bottle and studied the liquid against candlelight. What's the matter? I asked Dan, momentarily distracted by the dark circles beneath his eyes. A paramedic currently on paternity leave, Dan handled his sleepless shifts pretty well, but he looked ready to fall over. Penny is teething, he said around a yawn. And Malcolm's still at work, neck deep in appointments and paperwork right now. Malcolm was the most sought-after advisor at Port Coral Community College. He had a calm, thoughtful way about him and looked strikingly like Idris Elba. But 'tis the season of college app deadlines. Why don't you just come inside? I asked. Dan's family regularly came over for dinner. Because Mimi is working, and I won't make her play favorites like Malcolm does with you. Speaking of, didn't you see him earlier today? Why, yes, I did.